The Queen Elizabeth Hospital making progress with its kidney transplant program. Barbados advised to examine its community disaster preparedness mechanisms. The Ministry of Agriculture responds to calls to ban chicken wings imports. And in sports, Britain's Hill set a new record for goals scored in the Prime Minister's Cup.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Bowen. More Barbadians are being encouraged to consider donating kidneys to their loved ones. The call has come on the heels of 2 successful organ transplants. Sharika Griffith has the details.
The Queen Elizabeth Hospital has successfully done 2 kidney transplants in recent months. Chief Operations Officer Dr. Christine Greenidge says the surgeries were both performed in July, compared to just 1 done for all of 2023. She wants these types of procedures to become more commonplace, but acknowledges public education will be key.
A healthy adult can live a normal life with 1 kidney. And I have to be honest, right now we're looking at the trajectory of kidney disease in the country, and unfortunately it's going up, which means that right now the majority of our patients are treated for that by dialysis. We can reduce dialysis treatments if we have someone who is fitted, who can donate a kidney transplant, a wonderful transplant team. And this is something that I want Barbados public to be aware of.
Dr. Greenidge was speaking on the season finale of the Pulse radio show on Q100.7 FM. She acknowledges legislators are in the process of looking at policy changes to facilitate organ donations from not only living donors, but those who are recently deceased.
That young population I just mentioned that we're losing, unfortunately, to violence and sudden deaths, motorcycle accidents, car accidents, gunshots. These are relatively young, healthy, with organs that are probably 100% that can be transferred upon death to other people in need. A big need, cornea transplants, kidney. But Minister of Health, Dr. Walker, has been integral in getting this done.
Officials have previously stated a kidney transplant costs less than dialysis treatment. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
A suggestion that government must ensure there's an alternative path away from crime as it addresses challenges facing Barbadian youth. According to Minister of State in the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Investment, Senator Chad Blackman, the issue requires a modern approach. Senator Blackman has proposed the administration consider exposing young people to the numerous opportunities globally. He was the featured speaker at the annual general meeting of the Barbados Labour Party's Christchurch West Central branch.
Time has now come for Barbados to have a program, perhaps between the ages of 15 and 16 and 18 years old, where every year our young people travel the world for at least 2 or 3 months. Government partnering with private sector, partnering with civil society, and we send them abroad for those 3 months, whether it be in, Nairobi, London, Washington, D.C., Australia. And you get them exposed to the world. Once people start to taste opportunities globally, their mindset shifts. Sometimes you have to take people out of one space and put them into the next to change their mind. And once we can do that for at least 10 to 15 years, you now create a generation of young people who have a different outlook on life. And that is what helped me.
Senator Blackman has also sounded a warning to those coming into politics and are not prepared to do the hard work. He suggests good representation is linked to national development.
We oftentimes forget and take it for granted where we are as a country now, where there's growth, where there's stability, where there's clear leadership on our side. There are no disputes as to who is the leader. And we take these things for granted. But why is that important to touch on? In 2018, when we came to office, we did so against the background of Barbados being on the precipice of economic disaster, social disaster, unrest in different quarters. And why am I saying this? because oftentimes we take things for granted. And now that the government has been able to stabilize the economy, we have to now continue and, as they say, press gas and move on.
Barbados has been warned about a significant vulnerability in its disaster response mechanism. Former Member of Parliament Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic says it lies in the level of preparedness at the community level. In fact, he notes what ought to be the strongest part of the national disaster response system is actually the weakest.
I want to put it to you that if something really big happens in Barbados at the national level, that the Department of Emergency Management and the government alone will not be able to solve the issues. And I'm saying to you that at your level, in your communities, that DEO, those DEOs, those are the ones that have to bear the brunt of the response. And what I'm seeing and what I've observed over the last several years suggests to me that we really have to get this part of our preparation and planning together.
Lieutenant Colonel Bostic was addressing the annual general meeting of the Barbados Labour Party's St. Philip South branch. He offered several suggestions for how the problem could be addressed.
And I believe that the Department of Emergency Management, in spite of all of its efforts, perhaps needs to have a unit within that department that is strictly responsible for the DEOs on a daily basis, a weekly basis, monthly basis, yearly basis, to do all of the training and ensuring that those DEOs have the equipment that they require to be able to perform.
Also speaking at that meeting was Minister of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security Indar Ware. He's challenged poultry producers to provide proof there's a surplus of chicken on island. He was responding to a newspaper article which claimed expectations for increased demand for chicken as a result of the Cricket World Cup did not materialize. And as a result, thousands of pounds of chicken were left in cold storage. Mr. Ware questions why chicken shelves in supermarkets have been empty if this is the case.
And I'm telling you, unless they can provide me with the information I asked for since last week, we're going to another week. I want the names of all the people that got chickens in storage, person by person, how many kilos you have in storage. And if it cannot be provided to me by the middle of this week, you would hear me on Friday with the press. If it can be provided, I am going to bring a solution for those people.
Mr. Ware has also hit back at calls for the ministry to ban the importation of frozen chicken wings. He says producers on island cannot satisfy local demand, but notes the quantity being imported has decreased significantly in recent years to the benefit of local suppliers. The Agriculture Minister has challenged stakeholder bodies like the Barbados Agricultural Society to provide small farmers with opportunities to sell their products.
Set up some chicken outlets, but don't fool yourselves. If supply is outstripping demand, what happens, Chad? Price falls. Economics 101. If I have an abundance of supply of something, I don't let it spoil nor waste. I drop the price and I move it. And so you're telling me that you have suppliers, the supply that they can't move. But the price must keep going up, and they can afford money to put it in storage. So the days, when you calculate the days that are in storage, you're accumulating costs, and yet you said you can't afford to bring the price down.
We'll take a break here, but coming up, we'll tell you about a St. George family displaced by fire. At least 6 people have been displaced after fire destroyed their 3-bedroom uninsured home at Roach Village, St. George this afternoon. Occupant Tracy Seeley says she was at work when she received a phone call from her daughter informing her about the blaze, which destroyed the place they had called home for the past 12 years.
My daughter said she was sweeping and she just smelled the smoke and just get up. So she just see the fire, so all she had to do is run out.
Ms. Seeley says her family will be receiving assistance from the Welfare Department. A number of families across St. James South recently benefited from a parenting seminar and back-to-school initiative organized by the National Peace Program. While the children were gifted with school supplies, their parents engaged in a 5-week support session focused on raising emotionally intelligent children. Founder and chairman of the Caribbean Institute for Social and Economical and Emotional Learning, Tony Olton, provided some insight into what those sessions covered.
I mean, you can separate yourself from your thoughts and from your feelings. Is what gives you the power then to decide what you do about them. So that was a moment of awakening, of awareness for the participants. And that began the journey into better understanding self. And by that better understanding of self, then becoming more effective in managing self. What do we mean by that? Life comes at us every day, in all shapes, in all forms, in all kinds of circumstances. So what they've learned is that the outcome of your life is more a function of your response than the thing that happens.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for the area, Sandra Husbands, says such initiatives are vital to bring about changes from the household level to the wider society.
We have all been alarmed at the level of crime. We've been alarmed of what we've been hearing and seeing among some of our young people. And we recognize that if we're going to make a change, it is absolutely necessary that we make sure that we strengthen parenting skills in the homes and that we transform our educational system so that we produce a better, well-adjusted, well-skilled citizen who can function and take care of themselves and contribute meaningfully to our republic. And that is why this program was so important.
The Morris Bayer Polyclinic is undergoing some much-needed repairs thanks to the efforts of St. Peter residents and with funds collected from the St. Peter Give Thanks Gospel Concert at the Alexandra School, they'll be assisting with even more improvements. Rachel Agard has the story.
Mothers in St. Peter who attend the Morris Bayer Polyclinic will soon have access to baby changing stations. This is because the St. Peter Give Thanks Committee is moving to further enhance the facility. Member of Parliament for St. Peter, Colin Jordan, says monetary donations have already been used to bolster other areas of the polyclinic.
From your gifts, from your giving of thanks, we've been able to donate a new sign. So the sign that you see in concrete outside of the Morris Bayer Polyclinic has been the result of the giving of those in St. Peter who have chosen to give God thanks.
Principal Environmental Health Officer at the Polyclinic, Kathy Ann Marshall, says the contributions received have been instrumental in enhancing the quality of treatment to patients.
The annual contributions have made an impact on the overall experience of our patients. The television provides a source of entertainment and distraction for patients while they wait to be seen by medical professionals and helps to alleviate any feelings of anxiety or boredom that may come while waiting for an appointment. Additionally, it is also for the display of important information about health topics.
She adds the care with which items are selected has contributed to a more positive healthcare environment.
The recent donation to the creation of a dedicated baby changing area is particularly commendable.
The team at the Polyclinic is grateful and looks forward to opening its doors to all mothers of St. Peter. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Thanks, Rachel. It is indeed time for Sports Night as we're joined this evening by Damien Best. Damien, good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you, Pearson. Good evening to our viewers and listeners. Some football news first up. Britain still romp to the biggest victory so far of the inaugural Prime Minister's Cup by thrashing Maxwell 11 goals to 1, while Ellerton snatched a late 2-1 win over Greens United when the action continued last night. CBC's Anne Margaret Boyce reports.
First match featuring Ellerton in pink taking on Greens United. 3 minutes before halftime and Ellerton struck first. Neat work done on the flank by Rashad Jules, but the cross is turned in by Rico Belgrave. Own goal, Ellerton lead 1-0. Midway through the second half, Greens were back on level terms when this happened. Ellerton's Jamar Brewster trying to play the sweeper keeper. What is he doing? Pickpocket by Xavier Webster, and that's into the back of the net, all squared. Ellerton, however, continued to knock on the door to restore their lead. Clean pair of heels from Shaquille Bell, who finds an unmarked Romario Drates. How did he miss from there? Greens off the hook. Dying minutes of the contest now. A point for both teams, perhaps the deserving result. But Ellerton here with a chance to snatch all three as Jules is brought down in the box and referee Taylor points to the penalty spot. Huge moment in the match. Up steps Shaquille Bell and it was class dismissed. Ellerton with the late 2-1 win over Greens. Featured match now, Britain's Hill in red versus Maxwell. Lovely through ball to Ray Snag, who has time to pick his spot. Bottom corner, 1-0 the score. A few minutes later, Maxwell were once again picking the ball out of their own net. Goal line scramble, and Ramal Bueno has the final say. That's 2-0. Things went from bad to worse for Maxwell as Britain's Hill were cruising in the driver's seat. Flag stays down and Snag collects his second. Delight for Britain's Hill, agony for Maxwell. This match was virtually over in the first half as Britain's Hill took a 6-0 lead at the break with Bino snatching 5. The final score then read Britain's Hill 11, Maxwell 1. Anmar Goodrich Boyce, CBC Sports.
Thanks, Anmar. Meanwhile, tournament favourites Weymouth Wales started the Prime Minister's Cup on a winning note as they defeated Checker Hall. Also securing a win at Orange Hill was Technique FC over Silver Sands. CBC's Anne-Marie Burke reports.
Both Technique FC and the Pink and Silver Sands had one goal in mind to win their opening game of the Prime Minister's Cup. And it was in the 26th minute the boys in green got the ball rolling. A first attempt is blocked by the defence, but when the keeper couldn't hold on to it, the Reengale forward got the last touch as Silver Sands took first dibs. But it would be a level playing field 8 minutes later. The ball is guided down the left flank and watch as the cross finds the boot of Antonio Prince Weeks. What a sweet goal to make it 1-1. And that is how the first half would end. Silver Sands then started second with just what you don't want to ever do. This header from Omar Harris went straight over their keeper's header into Technique's goal, giving their opponents the 2-1 advantage. Technique then made it 3-1 when Xavier Bain punched it right in. The boys in pink went into celebration mode. 5 minutes later, Silver Sands responded. The corner kick bearing fruit, the final touch attributed to Tyreek Nurse. But to put icing on the cake in the 84th, Weeks would be the man again collecting the cross and is slotted in. Technique your winners at 4-2. Meanwhile, tournament favourites Weymouth Wales in the dark green got an early shock from opponents Checker Hall, who in just 11th minute of play struck goal with their star man Karan Worrell being the playmaker. But you know Wales were not going to let it settle there, and their fight back started in the 38th when the keeper brought down a player in the box and the penalty was awarded. Nadre Butcher stepped up to take it, and no mistakes were made. And after a 1-1 first half scoreline, Wales went into the second with fire in their eyes. Elijah Downey the one to make it 2-1. How about one more for good measure? Dancing through the defence to also get his name on the scorecard, Kemar Headley, as Wales take their first win at 3-1 over Checker Hall. Anne-Marie Burke, CBC Sports.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Well, Barbadian Paralympic swimmer Antoine Boyce Vaughan didn't qualify for the final of the men's S9 50-meter freestyle this morning at the Paralympics in Paris, but he did accomplish one of his goals to swim a personal best. Competing in Heat 3, Boyce Vaughan finished 7th in a time of 34.28 seconds. Well, that is my first half in sports. Pearson, we come back a bit later on, more action.
Thank you, Damien. Up next, the business report. Well, in business tonight, Barbados real estate sector stands to benefit from an agreement that will increase international business opportunities for industry players. Florida Realtors and the Barbados Estate Agents and Valuers Association have renewed and re-signed a joint memorandum of understanding. Leaders of the real estate organizations met during a Barbados trade mission this week. 2024 Florida Realtors President Gia Arvin says as part of the agreement, Florida Realtors and BIVA affirmed the value of international collaboration and agreed to exchange information in the general field of real estate,
as well as hopefully referring business back and forth between Florida and Barbados. Basically, we're both full of sunshine and beaches, and so it's just a natural opportunity for our citizens in Florida to buy property or vacation, invest in Barbados, and vice versa.
Meanwhile, President of the Barbados Estate Agents and Valuers Association, Arthur Ramsey, says the partnership will give local agents ties to new market connections and help cement what is being done in Barbados.
Because it's one of our biggest, sectors, and we believe that through this partnership we can get the educational push we need and also the teeth to help regulate the real estate association, the real estate in Barbados, and through this association be able to grow real estate for Barbados and investment as a whole.
Another local auto parts dealer wants to make it easier for motorists to secure replacement parts for their vehicles. The company, Auto Parts Direct, has added an online parts sourcing service to its operations. Trevor Thorpe reports.
Managing Director of Auto Parts Direct, Neil Greenidge, says the new online technology will allow them to source a replacement using the original equipment manufacturer number.
When we get the vehicle's chassis number, when we input that into our electronics parts catalogue, that brings up a schematic and a blowout of the customer's car, the exact vehicle, model, colour and everything. The VIN number, that's the vital important information. With that, when we insert that information into our system, we can find the correct part for the vehicle.
Mr. Greenidge says a delivery service has also been offered to mechanics. Store manager Sheldon Roach tells the Business Report a body refinishing department has been recently added to the operation, as well as a roadside service.
We are actually in the bodywork line as well. We are looking at a full automotive refinishing product coming to Barbados very soon.
The company says they are currently speaking to the Samuel Jackman Prescott Institute of Technology to share the technology, products and services. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
All right, Trevor. Well, here's a look now at tonight's trading report.
In Jamaica, Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with 1,286,322 units was the volume leader, followed by Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited and Bigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares. In Trinidad and Tobago, Massey Holdings Limited was the volume leader with 30,858 shares changing hands for a value of Trinidad and Tobago $107,955.65, followed by Grace Kennedy Limited. And here in Barbados, Goddard Enterprises Limited was the sole security, trading 100 shares at Barbados $3 each.
Well, that's tonight's business report. How was your weather today? Find out from Carrie Ann O'Neill after the break.
In the forecast for tomorrow, the sun is expected to rise at 5:47 and will set at 7 minutes past 6. Now, the first high tide, that's expected at 4 in the early morning, and the first low at 7 minutes past 10 in the morning. The seas, they are smooth to moderate in open water with swells peaking at 1.5 meters. The winds coming in from the southeast to the east, and they're peaking at 30 kilometers per hour. For us here in Barbados tonight, we can expect a mix of clear and cloudy skies, along with a few brief scattered light showers. And over the next 3 days, moisture will maintain partly cloudy skies along with a few brief showers. That's tomorrow. Thereafter, we are expecting fair to partly cloudy skies.
Time now for more sports with Damien Best.
Thank you so much, Pearson. Well, with 2 wins and 3 no results due to rain, Barbados under-17s had to settle for the second spot behind hosts Trinidad and Tobago in the CWI Rising Stars under-17 50 over championship. Well, a tournament record second wicket partnership of 199 runs between Kyle Mears and Evan Lewis was not enough to see host St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots to victory as they were defeated by St. Lucia Kings in their backyard of Warner Park last night in the Republic Bank CPL. An unbeaten even century for Lewis of 54 balls and 92 for Mears of 62 deliveries lit up the evening, with the Patriots pair hitting a combined 16 sixes and 13 fours to set a challenging target of 201 for 3. The Kings were struggling early in their response on 24 for 4 inside 4 overs, where Banuka Rajapaksa with 68 not out, along with 64 from Tim Seifert and 34 not out from David Visa, saw them pull off a 5-wicket win with 16 balls remaining as they reached 202 for 5. Well, tomorrow the Kings are back on the field, this time against Antigua and Barbuda Falcons. Match time is 7 p.m. Of course, live coverage on MCTV Sports Match Channel 310, while CBC TV will air it tape delayed from 8:03. That's after Newsnight. Today, of course, was a rest day in the competition. That is it for sports for me. Pearson, it's back over to you.
Damon, thank you. We'll be right back after this break. Well, that's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen. For the crew, to all of you, good night. By God's will, we'll see you tomorrow.